皆様ごきげんよう、メイドMizukiのネロ配信へようこそいらっしゃいました。Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to class. Today is going to be the follow-ups challenge. Today is a follow-up class stream for the challenge, a language learning challenge that I am in charge of. I have, what's the right word here? Called Study with Mizuki 2025. The goal is to try to memorize 1,000 new Japanese or English words, or to pass the next JLPT or the Aiken exam for those who are learning English. And this is a stream where I go over the posts that you have made mainly on Twitter, and also for a place for me to answer any of the questions that you have. ということで皆様ようこそいらっしゃいました。Study with Mizuki 2025のフォローアップ配信ということで、日本語と英語の教室を同時に行っちゃおう的な感じの配信となっております。ちょっとね、もちろん、頻度であったり、方法であったり思うところはあるので、ちなみに、そのうち来年とかからはね、少しずつグレードアップしたりしていく予定なんですけれども、とりあえず今のところ、ポストレビューって言って皆様のね、ツイッターメインではあるんですけれども、ツイッターに投稿していただいた皆様の頑張りであったり、質問であったりに答えたり、普通に皆様がこれから持ち寄ってくださる質問とかに答えたりすることができたらと思っております。よろしくお願いします。ということで、Boris on me when I'm alone in the classroom and there's no one around. Huh, empty room. I can sit in the teacher's desk now. And,デレミナさん、FA をサムネに使ってもらって嬉しいだい。これが本当の逆スパチャってかみたいな。いや、違うんです。2位のありがとうございます。Oh my goodness. By the way, it just doesn't make any sense, but Delphina-san here is the one who have painted me. And the picture, the painting that Delphina-san has painted me is on the thumbnail. So like, in other words, I'm supposed to be the one, you know, paying for it, but I just don't understand. Thank you for the super chat. 逆スパチャ。いや、ありがとうございます。いや、ちょっと逆すぎるな。申し訳ない。いや、本当にでもね、すっごい素敵なイラストなので。I mean, you can probably tell. The illustration is absolutely divine. So like, I was hoping, I was waiting for the autumn to come so that I can use it, because it has such a beautiful autumn vibe. で、なんかすごい秋めいてるイラストだな、みたいな。秋めいてるっていうか、すごい色合いとかがね、秋っぽい綺麗と思ったから、秋に使いたいなって思ってて、ちょっと僭越ながら使わせていただきました。本当にありがとうございます。Time to Doral さん。Goodness, 19 months? Gosh, you've been around a while. Thank you for being around. で、ダメさん、ジュンさん、ずんだもちさん。あれ、ずんだもちさん。ご勉学頑張っていらっしゃるんだと思うんですけれども、お元気ですか？あじゅうかさん。セラさん、こんばんは。夏ゆうさん、こんばんは。Welcome. Okay, so this is how we're gonna do. Part 1 is going to be the post review, where I go through the posts that you have posted on Twitter, mainly because I think I did try to look into TikTok, and I didn't really see anything. So for now, this. And then the second part is going to be Q&A. I think the first part is probably going to take about an hour, and after that, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. ということでね、最初のこのポストレビュー1時間ぐらいかかるのかな、かかるんじゃないかなと思っております。で、その後の質疑応答タイムなんですけれども、何でもね、その後聞いていただければと思いますので、もし、ポストとか見てる最中に、これはどうなんだろうとか思うことあったら、ぜひメモとかに取っといていただければと思います。So, if you have anything that any questions or things that you felt like you didn't understand enough while you were going through the posts, feel free to take notes so that you can ask later. Any questions so far? 皆様今のところどうですか？ご質問などございますでしょうか？めちゃくちゃ関係ないお話をしていいですか？Is it okay if I say something that has nothing to do with this really quick? 私、めちゃくちゃ、大好きな、お笑い芸人さんっていうか、お笑い芸人さんコンビがいらっしゃるんですよ。So I don't know if you know much about the Japanese like comedy culture, but there's this partnership of comedians that I'm such a big fan of. It's a partnership. It's of a man and of a male and a female, and it was like I just really like the way they make their content. And they just announced that they got married, and I'm like,いや本当になんかすっごく私大好きなお笑いコンビ、お笑い芸人コンビ、エレガント人生さんっていうね、芸人さんがいらっしゃるんですけど、エレガント人生チャンネルさんってちょっとオタクにいろいろと刺さっちゃう、刺さるって、グサンの方の刺さる方の、痛いの方の刺さる方のネタを投稿されてる、お笑い芸人さんがいらっしゃるんですよ。男性と女性のコンビの方でめちゃくちゃ面白くて、本当に大好きで、いや、たまにね、時勢で見てたりもするんですけど、オタクの女の子みたいなのが出てくるから、こうならないように気をつけようみたいな感じで見てたりもね、してたんですけど、ご結婚されたっていうね、ツイートをね、しました。私も普段こういうことリツイートしないんですけど、ちょっとリツイートしちゃって、I know I usually don't, retweet things like this, but I just had to retweet, and I was like, I just don't know. Like, I am so excited about it. Like, I don't really like the idea of calling them my oshi because I feel like the oshi culture is so different. いや、なんか、推しって呼ぶのもちょっとおこがましいっていうか、推しカルチャーってなんかちょっと違うなって思うところもあるんですよ。Like, I just really like them, you know? Like, both of them. I just really liked both of them and the things that they create. It's so funny. いや、本当に、なんかごめんなさい。もう本当にオタク早口になりがちだから早口にならないようにしようって思ったりはしてるんですけど、早口になっちゃう。いや、なんか確かにね、ごめんなさい。もうちょっとお話しさせて。Sorry, I just need to like say this a little lot. I just need to like get this off my chest, you know? Like, I always thought that they were like just really good friends. And there were moments that I was like, you know, where you can sometimes tell, right? When you're like, they're a bit too close to be just friends. But it's like, it's not something that you're supposed to talk about it. Like, you know, that's just stepping the line. And so I just tried to not think about it. And I was always like, funny, interesting, still like them. いやなんか、こういうことね、なんて言うんだろう、口に出したらすごい失礼っていうか、なんていうか、なんて言うんだろう、like, I feel like I would be stepping the line if I would look at them and be like, I feel like they're closer than just friends. You know, like, especially if they were in a professional relationship, like, you know, because this is their profession, this is their job. And so I never really tried to think about it. But yeah, turns out that I think like they didn't really, yeah, I guess they didn't like, I guess they didn't really go through this, this like dating thing. I think they just decided that they were gonna get married and they just did. なんかちょっとよくわかってないんですけど、多分、ご結婚されたっていうのも、あんま付き合ってるみたいなことはなかったっていうか、お付き合い期間なかったのかな？ちょっとわかんないんですけど、anyway, sorry, I just really wanted to share my excitement with you. ちょっとごめんなさい。本当に申し訳ない。でもちょっと、どうしてもこの興奮を皆様と分かち合いたかった。すっごく嬉しい。I'm so happy. Like, you do not understand how happy this makes me. いや、本当に嬉しくって。ね。ということで、sorry, かがさん。not the Salida さん、hi. You understand the feeling. You want to view them respectfully, but, and all that. Yes, yes, exactly. そう。尊敬の念を持って、見させていたら拝見しておりますので、もう失礼なことにはちょっとしたくないって思ってたけど、ちょっと多分心の片隅で、こうだったらいいなって思ってたりもしてたんですよ。Like you said, I really wanted to view them respectfully. I can't even speak English today. No, never mind. That's like every day. But there's a part of me that was kind of wishing that there were a thing, you know? いやでもなんかやっぱ心の片隅で付き合ってたら素敵だなとかなんかちょっとなんか素敵かもしれないって思う気持ちとかもあったりしたわけですよ。 Well, greetings, everybody. いや、もう本当に嬉しい。If any of you are interested, they make really funny content. Sometimes I will have to say, it's not like R-rated, but very like, you know, adult-y stuff that is still acceptable on YouTube. But they make really funny content. ちょっと待って、ごめんなさい。本当にね、すごい私みたいなよくわかんないものが、こうやってね、エレガント先生さんご紹介させていただくってのも、それ自体が失礼に当たる気もするんですけど、like, I also feel like like, you know, sharing their content, like, somebody like me, like sharing, oh gosh, I just realized they have uploaded a video explaining it like an hour ago. ちょっと待って、やばい。1時間前にご報告をするエレガント人生っていう動画が上がってる。You know what? I'm gonna watch it after this. I'm gonna end this stream and I'm going to go like, you know, I'm gonna crawl into my bed after I do all my nightly routines and I'm gonna watch this. ごめんなさい。ちょっと後でね、私、見ます。ちょっと待って。But yes, anyways, I'm just gonna post their link on the comments so that you can gain access to it if you're interested. ということでね、もしよろしかったら、ご覧になってみてください。私、メロい女の悩み系とか大好き。オタク系はちょっと自制のために見たりしてて、like they obviously exaggerate, but they make very ordinary, I guess you can use this as a cultural lesson, you know? いや、まあ文化的な、日本の文化的な意味での勉強にもなるのかもしれない。もちろんね、誇張さ表現はされてると思うんですけど。you know, they literally just make skits about, like, very normal relationships of like, you know, there will be a gyaru who is working at a fast food chain or something, and there will be an otaku kid who's like, it's just really funny. I just don't know how to explain it. いや、ちょっとほんと説明が下手なんですけど、本当に面白いので、and then like, what I think is amazing about them, oh my gosh, it's already like 15 minutes into the stream. 待ってやばい。配信始まって15分も経っておりますわ。興奮しすぎてる。ごめんなさい。なんていうか、お二人ともすごい演技が上手くて、imagine that it's not really like a stand-up comedy. It's more of like they make skits about everyday things. So it almost feels like you're watching, like, you know, an act. なんかなんて言うんだろう、漫才とかでもないし、そういう感じじゃなくて、本当に日常を切り取った感じ。Oh, imagine like slice of life, but made into a comedy. That is what it is. 日常系アニメ的なね、日常のあるあるみたいなのを切り取って、それをお笑いに変えてるみたいな。And, like, their acting skills are actually really good. で、すごい演技がね、すごくお上手でいらっしゃるんですよ。なのでね、すごく面白いと思うので、ぜひ見てみてください。Okay, let's start. ごめんなさい。始めます。はい。I am very sorry. はい。ということで、oh, there we go. Is this good? Let's review the posts. ポストを見ましょう。Okay. I'm just gonna go like this. こういう感じで本日やらせていただきます。はい。Situation comedy or sitcom. Oh, sitcom! I think I finally understood what that word meant. Okay, thank you. Yes, that. はい。そうです。シチュエーションコメディって言うんですよね。存じ上げず、失礼いたしました。そっか、これがね。This is what it means ね。Oh, I see. Okay. ということでね、let us start. First of all, 加賀さん、もういつもありがとうございます。You're doing amazing. はい。ということで、いや、本当にやっぱ何回でも言いますわ。I know I keep on saying this over and over and over again, but your writing skills, your handwriting is just getting so much better. Since your handwriting is getting really good, can I just give you one little advice. かなさんね、すっごく字が本当にどんどん綺麗になってると思うんですよ。なので、一つだけちょっとアドバイスさせていただきたいんですけど、so this is kind of a bit hard to describe, but a lot of the fonts that you see online are very stylized fonts. なんていうか、インターネット上で見ることができるフォントっていうか、使われてるフォントって基本的に結構、なんていうの、すごい作り込まれたっていうか、デザイン性のあるフォントなことが多いんですよね。And so, I've learned this word. There's like serif fonts and sans serif fonts, I believe in English. なんていうの、いわゆる明朝体、ゴシック体みたいなね。I'm going to write this here. 明朝。why did I? 待って、途中で送っちゃった。Can I edit a comment? Nope, I can't. 明朝体。字が綺麗。いや、本当にね。明朝体 is something that is close to like sans serif fonts, like serif fonts. What? How do you call those? English font serif. What was them? Okay, serif fonts, and then sans serif. Sans serif fonts are the ones that's not. Okay. So Minchotai is something that is close to serif fonts in English. And then there's Goshikutai. That is close to sans serif fonts. And so what I see here is that you are probably referring to or like looking at a lot of those goshikutai, or in other words something that is close to the sans serif fonts in English, which is fine. I mean, it's more of like it's a combination. Well, the idea is that if you think about serif fonts, if you don't know what that means, I want you to just look it up really quick. It's the type of fonts that has those like little lines that comes out. It just makes the font look a lot more classic. It's like, imagine Times New Roman. The reality is that people don't write that way. And then if you think about like, sans serif fonts, I guess, you also don't really write things in this way either. It's just that the idea is that like it's really hard to like refer to the way that fonts are and try to learn how to write from it. And so in Japanese we have a very specific font that a lot of textbooks use. And that is called kyokashotai. I want you to, if possible, it would be cool if you could just like copy paste that and just like look up on Google Images, and you will probably be able to see how different it looks. It's going to look a lot more like actual people handwriting without all those like stylized ways. Imagine like like this old newspaper style G, or the way people not write A's in English. So yeah. So once you will see that, it might help you out a little bit more. I usually look at Jisho stroke order and write the characters. Is it better to look at computer fonts? No. I think like in terms of kanji, I think it looks great, but what I want to refer to is more of like your hiragana strokes. For example, I look at your ki. By the way, it doesn't mean that they're like, unreadable. I can see how good your handwriting is. But do you see this little, for example, ki? Do you see that you make the beginning of the ki a little round? That is a very specific style that fonts have. Or for example, あとは何だろう。 I remember that when you first started posting, it was, oops, sorry, that's my water bottle. You had a, excuse me. Like E and Li, I remember that you used to write Li a little bit more like there's an angle to it, for example, or like Na. I remember that maybe it wasn't you. Sorry if it maybe it wasn't, but some of the fonts, they like connect these two lines. So yeah, there's no hiragana and katakana stroke on Jisho. I know. Sorry, let me drink really quick. すみません、ちょっとお水飲みますね。Ah. Sorry, I had some chili tonight. And I feel like something stuck on my throat. ごめんなさい、ちょっと本日晩ご飯唐辛子系のもの食べて、なんか喉に唐辛子詰まってる気がする。But it's just that. And so I do think like it might help if you want to go back and do some hiragana writing practices. You can just look up hiragana writing practices online and just like print out those free materials that you'll be able to print out and write over. And a lot of like there's going to be a lot of videos that will explain to you like what things you want to be looking at. So that's just one thing. If you want to like, you know, elevate your writing skills, especially because your writing skills are already so good. Nah. Oh yeah, I was always a bit confused if the two strokes only should be connected or not. Not really. Just keep in mind that like Japanese also has this idea of like cursives. In cursives, which people will not write in like normal pens or in pencils, it's very specific for calligraphy. There is a style that you will actually connect them, but again, that is for calligraphy and not for like everyday writing. ということでね、すいません、ちょっと長くなっちゃったんですけど、これ私ね、これもいつか動画にした方がいいなって思うんですけど、日本語勉強される方ってやっぱり、インターネットで勉強されることが多いイメージあるんですよね。特にVtuber のファンの方であったりするのは。で、日本って明朝体とゴシック体ってあるじゃないですか。それにプラスして、教科書体ってのがあって、実際日本の教科書に使われてるのは教科書体であることがほとんどなんですよ。ちなみに教科書体ね、私使った方がいいなって思ったんですけど、ちょっとね、結構お金かかる。で、そのうちお金が手に入るようになったら、契約します。難しいですね。ただ、明朝体ってなると、なんていうか、すごい、普通では書かない感じのね、あれだったりするし、ゴシック体はゴシック体でなんかちょっとカクカクしてたりするし、っていう感じで、ちょっと違うんですよね。でも、そういう、なんか、イメージとかがなかったら、そういう前提知識みたいなのがなかったら、難しいと思うので、個人的に日本語勉強される方は、ひらがな練習帳みたいな、とか、を見ながらやるのが一番いいのかなっては思っております。So, yeah, since they're different depending on the fonts. Exactly. That's what's really confusing, isn't it? So like for us Japanese, when we start learning English, we go through the English alphabet and we will actually go through workbooks that teaches you how to like write. So I think that might be one of the biggest differences that there is in terms of Japanese education, or like, you know, like Japanese learning and English education in Japan in terms of schools. Okay, I can go back and practice more loan words. There are a lot of those words at the N5 level that I don't remember well. Yes, that would be cool. But yeah, not just katakana, because honestly, katakana is originally a lot more straighter, made with straighter lines. So I think your katakana actually looks really good. I would say more hiragana, because I feel like your hiragana looks a little bit more stylized. Another reason why I'm saying this is because when you try to write in a stylized way, it's going to make it a little bit harder for you. It usually takes more time, like hiragana or any kind of letters, I guess, has changed throughout history, usually. And it is usually made so that it will be easier for people to write. Like, people get used to it. And so, in other words, if you learn the better, like the normal or in a way, the correct way of writing them, I feel like you will see that your writing speed is going to increase. Anyway, thank you for listening. Amazing. ありがとうございます。いつもね。Okay, moving on. アストロさん。素晴らしい。夫ストレス原因知らん。かわいそう。はい。Again, if any of you are interested who are new here, I have this worksheet that you'll be able to print out so that you can write things on your own. はい、ということで次です。大切です。日本は地震が多いですからね。うそみさんはね、うそみさん here is one of those who is studying English, who is Japanese. So thank you. はい。ということで、sometimes I will just be liking them and sharing them with you. ということで、たまにちょっと高速で行こうと思います。はい。地震、台風とか系がね、ちょっと多かったですね。防災グッズね、大事なんでね、皆様気をつけましょう。This is from my YouTube shorts. I remember writing this sentence. 災害が起こった時のために防災グッズを用意しておきましょう。ということでね。Also, I think it would be beneficial. Sorry, again, going back to handwriting. I think it would be beneficial for you if you wanted to get better at your handwriting to look at native Japanese speakers' handwriting. For example, Usomi-san here. One thing to keep in mind if you want to write clean or like if you want to write better is to think about the balance of letters. Usually, we Japanese would write kanji bigger, hiragana and katakana smaller. Also, the placement of those small letters like tsu is going to be very important. When you're writing vertically, when you're writing vertically and horizontally, the placement of those small tsu is going to change. So look at those and try to study how people write. Usomi-san has a pretty good handwriting, so it'll be great. I think this post itself is going to be a great source. But when you're writing horizontally, make sure that your small letters like tsu or small yo, they're on the bottom side. Okay? They don't come in the middle, they come to the bottom. So, これ例えばなんですけど、これ日本人の方にも言えるのかな？もしね、英語の書くのなんかちょっと難しいなとか、なんかどうやってネイティブの方が書いてるんだろうとか思うことあったらね、実際にネイティブの方がどう書いてるのか見るのもいいんじゃないかなって思ったりもします。例えば、うそみさんすいません。なんかすごくね、字が綺麗でいらっしゃるから。あれなんですけど、災害ってこの漢字の方が大きい、ひらがな、カタカナを少し小さめっていうの我々はね、学校で習ったりするじゃないですか。で、この小さい、小さいよとかですね、陽音と呼ばれるものですけど、これは、横に書くときは、下部に書くとか、縦に書くときは、右側に書く、右上に書くとかね、こういうのもね、すごく大切な知識になってきますので。はい。Anyways, thank you. ということで、避難場所をあらかじめ確認しておくのがいいですね。So, evacuation sites. By the way, this has nothing to do with Japanese, but I do think this is extremely important. Evacuation sites, 避難場所。Not just when you live in Japan, but when you're visiting Japan, you will never know, especially in this like age of over-tourism here in Japan, you're never gonna know when you're going to encounter a natural disaster. Japan has a lot of earthquakes. We have typhoons, we have earthquakes, we have tsunamis, we have rainstorms. So it is extremely important to know how you're supposed to evacuate. Keep that in mind, okay? これちょっと全然関係ないんですけど、このね、オーバーツーリズムだのなんだの言われてる時代、やっぱり旅行で日本に来て災害に巻き込まれるってことも絶対あると思うんですよね。この先特に地震であったり。もういつ来るかわかんないですから、この季節台風とかね、typhoon season's basically starting right now. だからホテルでどうやって避難するのかとか、外に出てる時もね、地震があった時はどうすればいいのかって絶対確認しておいていただきたいなと思います。私は個人的にね。So when you're even just traveling to Japan, we have this bias that like we are just like, when you're a person, you're just not going to encounter anything bad, but try to get rid of that bias. Make sure that you know how to evacuate when, for example, an earthquake occurs at the hotel you're staying, or obviously there might be fire, you just never know, right? or just look at what you're supposed to do when there's an earthquake when you're traveling around. Be careful. 気をつけましょう。では次ですね。加賀さん。桜の花が散る様子を見ると、物の哀れを感じる。物の哀れ素敵な日本語。ね。あ、アリサさんもコメントされてる。いや、物の哀れ、this is like old Japanese. Oh, sorry. For example, this. れ you're actually supposed to make this into an angle. The rounding it is a stylized way. But 物の哀れね。物の哀れ is a very old Japanese term. We don't use this really anymore, but it's that feeling of when you're feeling a little sad. It's not like you're very sad, it's more of like a little sad. 物の哀れ、ちょっとした悲しさ、ちょっとした物悲しさ、ね。It's like, it's not all the way to sorrow, it's just a bit of sadness. And you, like people, old Japanese people, would use this when they wanted to express their feeling when they would see something like cherry blossom, being blown away by the wind. It is so beautiful, but then there's this slight sadness to it. That is mono no aware. Again, nobody really uses this word anymore. But you might encounter them in, for example, like, old literatures, or like when people are talking literature. So, melancholy, got it. It's actually a bit different from melancholy too. Melancholy ともまたちょっと違うんですわよね。メランコリーはね、憂鬱とかだから、there's a positive feel to it. I know it feels a bit weird, but there's a slight positivity to it. 物の哀れって悲しいんですけど、ネガティブな悲しさじゃないんですよ。そう。チャンデさん、hi! Just drop by and say hi. Hi, チャンデさん。ね。綺麗な言葉、かっこいい。綺麗な言葉ですよね。So, Jisho says appreciation of the fleeting nature of beauty. Yes, but add sadness to it. Because, yes, like the fleeting part is supposed to be a bit sad. But I think this is one of those really biggest cultural differences. Like, I feel like in Japan there's this huge culture and a mindset that something that deteriorating is beautiful. That can also be seen in the word wabi-sabi, right? But mono no aware kind of like embodies that. It is beautiful, it is sad, but that sadness isn't negative. 心が揺れ動くくらいの感じなんですね。あ、確かに確かに。ずんだもちさん said something really good. It's like when your heart is being moved. Imagine autumn. I'm just trying to like imagine the most American scenery that I can imagine. Imagine you're on your front porch. You're like seeing your grandkids play at your on the front lawn, and you're on your whatchamacallit, your like reclining chair stuff, and you're holding your loved one's hand and you're drinking hot chocolate. It's autumn. The leaves are falling, and like it's such a beautiful scenery, and you're so like you're moved, but then there's a slight sadness to it. That is mono no aware. いやめちゃくちゃ頑張ってできるだけアメリカンな情景をでね説明しようと思ったんですけど、うまくいったかわかんないんですけどね。物の哀れ。アメリカの田舎のなんかお家のフロントポーチでなんかね。ゆらゆら揺れ動く。なんて言うんですか椅子。もうね、最近物忘れが激しい。椅子に座って、ロッキングチェアだ !rocking chair, that's the word. ロッキングチェアに、座って、なんか、ね、配偶者の方の手をつなぎながら、お孫さんがね、自分の孫が遊んでる、みたいな。で、なんかもう、木が揺れ動いて葉が落ちてみたいな、その美しい中に少しの物悲しさがあるのが物の哀れ。It sounds so complex, but I kind of get it, I think. It is very complex, but thank you. そう、メランコリー、憂鬱とはまたちょっと違うんですわよね。難しい、本当に難しい。 But it is the reason why I say this is an old term is because it's from the Heian period. ちなみに平安時代のね、平安文学でよく聞かれる言葉な気がいたします。So, guess it's something more personal because I can feel it. Good! I'm glad! よかった!ちょっと待って、これ面白いからそのうち動画にしたいな。Wait, I just like realized this might be a really interesting topic to make it into a video in the future. 物流れ書いとこう。はい、物流れ。ということで、Thank you for listening. Next! はい、ということでね、アスチャーさん、火曜日、夫ストレス、発掘作業を、そういえば、発掘作業で恐竜の化石を見つけました。ね、私の、お友達と言っていいのかわからない、VTuber の方がなんとネイチャーに乗られたということで、とんでもないですわよね。本当にとんでもない。By the way, I don't know if you saw my Twitter tweet or timeline, but one of the VTuber mutuals that I have, crazy, Kochirui sensei, an actual dinosaur researcher, got his research on nature, like the nature. Crazy, isn't it? So, VTuber scenery, like scenes are just crazy. ということでね、はい。異世界がアナザーワールドなのはわかりますが、異世界でも一部の人に通じるんですね。これ、めっちゃ面白い。By the way, 異世界。異世界って言葉、なんと、オックスフォード英語辞典に載ってます。皆様知ってたこれ。I just wanted, ちょっと待って。I need to figure out when it was put on the Oxford English Dictionary. When? March 2024. That is super recent. なんと去年の2024年のね、3月、異世界、オックスフォード英語辞書に載りました。ちなみに、オックスフォードってよく聞く言葉じゃないかなって思うんですよ。オックスフォード英語辞典って何って思う方のために説明しておきますと、いわゆる広辞苑の英語バージョンです。世界で一番でかい辞書。Crazy! Earliest known use, 2010s, apparently. はい、ということで、異世界という言葉、なんと、2024年、年が出ない。3月に、オックスフォード、英語辞典か、に、掲載されました。あ、ちょっと待って、泣が出ない。いや。もちろん、元のアナザーワールドではなく、アニメ、漫画的な意味での異世界ジャンルとしてですが、はい。gotta post this. はい。But yes, 異世界 we all just used it way too much. 異世界すげーOne of those random English words, I mean Japanese words, that gets on the Oxford English Dictionary. I wonder if the word VTuber is on the Oxford English Dictionary. 次、VTuber 乗らないかな？ It's on the Oxford Learner's Dictionary, but not yet, I guess. まだ、Learner's Dictionary の方には載ってる。はい。ということでね。Well, it will one day be official. ということで、次行きましょう。はい。Plenty は学生時代に記憶した覚えがないのですが忘れてるだけだと思います。よく使えそうな単語ですね。ブレンディーボトルコーヒーはたっぷりブレンディー覚えられるかも。いや、素晴らしい。こういった、つながりを持たせた覚え方。 ても大事ですわよね。語呂合わせしっかり。So Usomi-san here is saying that plenty is probably a word that I did learn when I was still a student, when I was in school, but I don't really remember. Feels like it's gonna be a hard one to memorize for me. But blendy bottled coffee. Blendy. Plenty. You know, it is really important for you to try to like find similarities to things that you already know and try to memorize it that way, because it's one of the easiest ways to remember things. ということでありがとうございます。region はゲームで各リージョンごとにモンスターの特性が違いますみたいな表現が出てきたので覚えてました。おー、素晴らしい。我々日本人にとってはね、割とゲームとかで英語に触れる機会が実は多いのかもしれないですよね。うさみさんありがとうございます。ということで、コンビニね。コンビニエンスストア。OK、加賀さん。はい。アイス屋さんに連れて行ってください。いいですよ。連れて行く。ね。友達を連れてきた。There's actually something very similar to isekai in English literature called portable fantasy. Things like Alice in Wonderland or Narnia. Oh, that is fun! I guess I like portable fantasies. I wonder if Neshin's Saga will be considered one of those. Do you know Neshin trilogy? Trilogy? I don't know how to pronounce this word. It was one of my favorite books growing up. Trilogy? Trilogy? It's a hard word. I think it's German. Apparently, like, isekai is very specifically Japanese style of, like, you know, you get hit by the truck and you got transported into a new world type. That is how at least is worded on the Oxford English Dictionary. But keep in mind, isekai originally means simply another world. ということでね、すべてが順調に進んでいる。彼女が順調に回復している。素晴らしいですね。Oh, by the way, I know like Kaga-san, you're probably just practicing kanji, but it turns out that we are more used to writing this in like normal, like, you know, numbers other than kansuji and kanji. Good job. 素晴らしいですね。はい、水曜。終わり近づく寂しい気持ち。近づくと寂しいですね。experience to experiment って似てますね。確かにね。experience and experiment, they do feel very close. でね。そう。方言が dialect まで似てる単語が出てきましたね。direct とそっくりさん。あ、そっか、そういう風に考えたことなかったもん。Sorry, I don't know it. How do you write it? Oh, Nishan Saga? Sorry, I don't really know like where this is from. Oh, it's a German book. I've only read the Japanese one, like the one that was translated into Japanese. It's a really thick book. So when I was in elementary school, I kind of basically read all the books that was existing in my elementary school library. Well, so like, you know, I don't know about other countries, but in Japan, elementary school usually places books depending on the level, like the grade that you're in, so that you'll be able to understand the kanji and stuff. But by the time I was like in 3rd grade, I kind of read all the materials all the way to like 4th grade. And so I just like, you know, I was like, I don't know what to read next. I just went to the librarian and I was like, just give me the thickest book in this library, and this is what she gave me, and I got so hooked. ね、シャンさんがね、なんか私、何歳だったかな 2年生、3年生ぐらいの時に読んだんじゃないかなと思うんですけど、小学校の図書館で、図書室で、なんか割ともう読めそうな本全部読んじゃって、次どうしようって思って、図書館の司書さんに、この中で一番分厚い本貸してくださいって言って出てきたのがね、シャンサーガでした。本当に面白かったの覚えてる。 なんか、たくさん本読んでる、特にフィクション系とかね、方あるあるかもなんですけど、よっぽど面白いものじゃないと内容覚えてたりしないと思うんですよね。だからね、シャンサーがまだ覚えてるから本当に面白かったんだと思う。もう一回読みたいな。うわ、ドイツ語でいつか読んでみたいかも。ね。Question says, do you usually write date and zero style? I saw them, but should I learn the style too? Oh, no. We usually just write them in like, this way. なんて読むんだっけ？数字、漢数字じゃない。漢数字じゃないよ。三四数字だ。アラビア数字、the Arabic numbers. We usually write them in Arabic numbers. The only times I think we would write numbers in kanji might actually be in like calligraphy class. I really can't think of other times. 漢数字日本語で使うときっていつでしょう？私、習字の時間ぐらいしか思い出せないんですけど。漢数字、いつ使う？ Oh, I guess like, you know... like, the times that we would use kanji numbers is probably when that word is included in a word, like when kanji is included in a specific word. For example, imagine like proverbs. Like imagine that there's, you know, a number included in the proverb, and since that's already a word on its own, like an idiom, we use the kanji numbers. But outside of that, ことわざは確かに使えますよね。でも、あとあれかも。And then addresses. 住所。住所は漢数字で書くことも多いかな。Not always, but addresses. あとは、慣用句、idioms, proverbs. 稀に住所。ね、確かにね、稀に住所。かと思います。Thank you for asking. That's a really good point. では。ねえ。例文から今自分が持っている盾を使って敵の攻撃を防ぐとイメージしたので、なぜが盾に複製形にと思ったら、特定の盾ではなくいろいろな種類のゲームを盾でガードしようという話でした。これなんだろう。In games, use shields to defend yourself from enemy attacks. Oh yeah. For us Japanese, what's one of the hard things about English is trying to understand plural forms. Like, you know, the times that you can actually use the word fish or fishes. Like, you know, if you say, you usually just say fish, but then you can also say something like there's a lot of fishes in the sea. Or sheep. Like, if there's certain specific breeds of sheep or like kinds of sheep, you can say there's 3 kinds of sheeps. Like 3 sheeps, 3 kinds of sheeps. That's just really hard. いや、わかる。複数形めんどくさいし、わかんないんですよね。はい。Oh, Mario さん、Hi, hello. What playlist in your library do you have for beginners who would like to learn Nihongo? Thank you. That's a really good question. Do you think you, like, I can come back to you in like 10 minutes? あと10分後にそれ答えてもいいですか? So, I mean the sentence is fine because there's different types of shields too. Yeah, this one will be fine because, well, I'm the one who kind of made the sentence. But because like, I was referring to different types of shields that exist in different types of games. If this was talking about one game and one very specific shield, it wouldn't be that way. 複数形は日本人泣かせ。ね。あ、間違えた。Sure, thank you. Take your time. Thank you. 複数形は日本人。本当にね、複数形難しいんだわ。ずっとで。そう。ノーって英語にするとノーって人にするみたいに見えますからね。ハイフンとか、空っぽの 空っぽの。ああ、まあまあ。そうだな。の。これ面白いな。Karaoke is an abbreviation for 空っぽ empty no orchestra. の。の。と。二拍。拍が違う。二拍。のは。一拍。That's a different 拍。Okay. かもそうね。This one's interesting. Usumi-san was wondering if so you probably know that karaoke is Japanese, right? It's an abbreviation for Karappo no orchestra. Karappo means empty and orchestra is orchestra. Imagine an empty orchestra, like, which kind of doesn't really make sense if I say it that way, but it just means that, like, that's what it means. But yeah, so Usami-san's wondering if Usami-san said Karappo no orchestra to explain this to an English speaker, if no part would sound like no, but I feel like, you know, since there's like two moras, well, no, not, I mean, that's not, but I think it'll be fine. Moving on. ということで、体の調子はどうですか？体の調子はね、いいです。木曜日。はい。難しいですね。お盆はなんだかんだ忙しい。Yeah, we went through お盆。ネックレスって意識してなかったですか？首プラスレースでネックレスなんですね。あ、確かに。昔はレースでしたもんね。はい。So yeah. Okay. 体重。犬の体重は5キロです。かわいい。上司の体重は秘密です。That's a good one. Yeah, your boss's weight is a secret. 妹の身長はまだ低いです。体調はどうですか？体調、体重。体。ね、身長。Yeah, not to you, son. Okay. Practice a bit more on past tense with と思いますと言ってました。Ooh, those are really good. と思います means I think. と言ってました somebody said. Those are really useful. ね。そう。The karaoke fact always reminds me of Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother. I think I've heard. Is that an American TV show? I think I like heard about it before on like TikTok and Instagram. たけしさんは日本の音楽を聴いたと言ってました。ミキさんは勉強するのが嫌いだと言ってました。Ah, that's a good one. 勉強するのが嫌いね。Yeah. You can actually say 勉強が嫌い. And okay, quick question. What's the difference between 勉強 and 勉強する？はい、これ、ミキさんは勉強するのが嫌いだと言っていました。But you can also say でもミキさんは勉強が嫌いだと言ってました。っても言えますよね。何が違うんでしょう、この二つ。What's the difference if I wanted to say 勉強するのが嫌い and 勉強が嫌い？ What would be a difference in meaning or like, what is the difference, simple difference between 勉強する and 勉強？何が違うんでしょうか？Noun and verb. Good job! その通りです。勉強 itself will be a noun. By adding する it will be a verb. By the way, there's three different kind of words, I guess, that is used in Japanese. One is called wago, one is called kango, one is called shakuyogo or gairaigo. Wago or Yamato kotoba are words that originally existed in Japanese before the Chinese influence came in. Kango Kango is Chinese words. Words that were brought into China when they also brought us their letters, or in other words, kanji. 借用語、外来語, those are like the katakana words. To make it easy to explain. It's not always, but 勉強 for like, those nouns that can be connected into suru to make it into a verb, a lot of them are kango, originally Chinese words. And so if you know Chinese, you might realize that some of the words like 勉強 might exist in Chinese, which I do not know if 勉強 actually exists in modern day Chinese or not. It's not all of them, but that's one of the biggest differences. If you have already went through, like verb group 1, group 2, group 3 type stuff, you know that group 3 consists of suru, but you also know that you can add a lot of nouns onto suru in order to make it into a verb, right? A lot of them are what we call kango. The thing is, Yamato kotoba or wago are usually easier to memorize, and kango is a little bit harder. Because kango usually consists of more metaphoric words, or what's the name? More like abstract ideas, while original wago would cover more 具象的, more like concrete or specific ideas, or like words that you can usually see with your naked eye. ちなみに日本語はね、和語、漢語、借用語とか外来語とかあると思うんですけれども、何々するっていう動詞がひっついて動詞になる、その勉強とかね、このするがついて動詞になるこの元の名詞っていうのはほとんどが漢語だったりします。ちなみにその日本語初心者の方とかが、日本人もしっかりだと思うんですけど、勉強する際、実は和語の方が簡単だったりするんですよね。和語の方が具象的なものを説明することが多かったりして、漢語は結構抽象的なことを言葉が多かったりするので、もし皆様が日本人のね、皆様が日本語まだ勉強中だよっていう方とか、日本語ちょっとしかわからないよっていう方に出会った時は和語、つまりそんな漢語じゃない言葉で説明とかしたりする方が良かったりするかもしれないって感じですね。はい。ということで、Kevin さん、Good evening, welcome. Okay, that was good, thank you. Next. はい。ということで。this is a good one. 調べてみたら病気だけで illness, disease, sickness とたくさん種類があるのですね。sick しか知りませんでした。病気 illness, disease, sickness. There are differences between them, right? Can any of you explain to me what the difference between these are? By the way, they can all be described as 病気 in Japanese, which makes it hard. So, 日本語ではね、病気だけの言葉が illness, disease, sickness って英語になった途端3種類になったりするんですよね。ちなみに使う場所も全然違ったりします。これが言語の面白いとこですね。This is one of the hardest but the most exciting thing about languages, aren't they? There might be this one word in your native tongue, but when you translate it into a different language, it might turn into like 3 or 4 or 5 words, and the usage will be slightly different. Okay, so what's the difference between illness, disease, and sickness? One thing to keep in mind is that the fact that there's 3 different ways to describe something, even though it might feel like they're all the same, means that there will be different meanings to them. Like, no language has to come up with 2 or 3 or 4 different ways of describing one word if it's not needed. これ、一つ覚えておいていただきたいんですけど、どんな言語であっても類義語とかね、あったりすると思うんですよ。同義語であったり類義語であったりあると思うんですけど、あるのにはちゃんと理由がありますから。使い方の違いだったり、使う場面の違いだったり、 特に日本語は敬語がありますからね。There was a difference. I was learning this word a few weeks ago. Oh, I mean like English, not the Japanese. It's all 病気 in Japanese. There are differences. It might be harder to describe, but one thing I can say is that there's difference in levels, for sure. Shurui. 違う種類あります。そうとで違う種類あります。illness と disease と sickness ですね。意味もちょっとずつ違います。Ill is a word you use instead of sick when you want to sound fancy. Disease is something that's not necessarily an illness that can be caught or cured, like scoliosis or diabetes. The last one. I like that. But yes, sickness, when you think about when you use it, one thing to try to understand, even your own language, especially your mother tongue, is that it's nicer, it's easier when you can think of ways that you would use it. Sickness, don't you feel like that's a lot lighter than a disease? I feel like disease is something that you will have to be told that you have something by a doctor. You have to be properly told, like you have to be diagnosed. I think we can just say condition for 病気. This captured 3 plus some more. Condition is 症状 though. I know, different. It's a bit different. Condition in Japanese will be 症状. Actually understanding those different usages is going to be very crucial. Understanding it in your own language also is crucial because then you'll finally be able to start realizing that there's differences. And it makes life a lot more interesting too. Anyways, okay, so let's try to write it down. Sick. Why is it on caps lock? なんで caps lock かかってる? Sickness, disease, illness. Well, actually, I want to put illness here. Condition isn't necessarily how do you pronounce that word? Deleterious? Deleterious? I feel like that's more British. Oh, deleterious. Okay, that's more American. Okay, let's write it down. So, sickness is more light. Sickness の方が軽い分ですね。軽いかも。例えば、病気、ちょっとしんどい。Like, you know, you don't have to be diagnosed in order to feel sick. I feel like this is more of like a feeling. 個人的に感覚に近いかも。と思います。Let me know if I'm wrong, but I feel like sickness can be something that you feel. Like, yes, you can be diagnosed and you can be sick, but like you can't feel like you have a disease, but you can feel like you're sick. 例えばなんですけど、sick っていうのは別になんていうの？この症状がありますからこれですよっていう判定を医師から受ける必要はないんですよね。ということで、ちょっとしんどいかもであって、お医者さんからの診断は必要ない。Illness. I personally, I feel like illness is going to be the hard one for me to describe. Illness はちょっと個人的に難しいって思っちゃうかもしれない。 So by condition, I didn't mean condition of a patient, but for example, a person with a lot of conditions. You say that when someone has got viruses, health issues. Oh, okay. Thank you. That makes more sense. 病気か。Sorry, I'm trying to think. Because I feel like conditions. I feel like in Japanese that would still be 症状。それでもやっぱ日本語では症状な気がするな。Oh, you mean symptoms? Yeah, because 症状 would be symptoms and conditions, right? But like conditions and symptoms I feel like are more are the same word in Japanese. Condition も symptoms も日本語では一緒なんですよね。多分症状だから。Yeah, that's how I feel. But illness, I still don't know how to explain illness. Illness はちょっと難しい気がする。But I would say illness, to me, let me know how you feel like, but I feel like illness is a little bit harsher than just sickness. Like, imagine when you use it. Like, I feel like, you know, in sickness or in health, you know, at the altar, I feel like that's 日本語だと軽い思いで分けてる感じ。Well, never mind. That's like still illness. Illness is hard, but I still feel like it's a bit more harsher than a sickness. What do you think? The disease is definitely disease though is definitely more like heavier weight than sickness. 死の死んだありかなと思います。Yeah, illness I feel like is more of a harsher condition, like, you know, mental illness, ill, like seriously ill, chronic illness. Illness gives me the feeling that it's longer term. Oh, you're so right. Sickness can maybe like go away in a day or two. Sometimes with some like specific meds, they might go away in like a few hours. Illness is not something that will go away in a few hours. Now, like you can wake up feeling sick and recover that day, but if you're ill, it could be days or weeks. Ooh, I'm gonna add that. Thank you. 中くらい長期ですが、sick sickness はすぐに治るものですが、illness は少なくとも数日はリカバリーにかかるかも。Now, sickness could just mean feeling, oh well, I got illness. I guess illness would diagnosed and could be long-term or persistent. True, I guess we can add that illness might require some special treatment. Ooh, I'm definitely gonna add that. 特別な I'm running out. 処置が処置が必要な内容もあり。OK。そんな必要。You know, these are the moments I feel like I should just get that blue badge. でもこういう時にね、課金した方がいいのかなって思うんですよね。Okay. Just now we need to figure out. You know what? I'm just gonna go with this. Okay, well, thank you for your cooperation. You know, this is what I like to do with you too. いや、皆様のこれやると楽しいですね。ということで、 I always like to think of specific words that can try to be, translated into a different language, like a Venn diagram. Like, even if you just say dogs, what the image of a dog that you have in your brain and the image of dog that I have in my brain is obviously very different, and that difference is basically made from the culture and the environment that we were brought up in, including languages. And so when I hear 病気 and when you hear illness, it might actually be connected as the same word on a dictionary, but the schema, I guess, is either way going to be different. Make 2 posts. It's okay, I got rid of the first part. The part that it wasn't really needed. Okay, well, moving on. メンマゴリゴリの硬いやつはいいですね。なんかね、時々新調しないと気づくと動画合わなくなっちゃうんですよね。この間私3年ぶりぐらいにメガネ新調しました。はい。OK、土曜日。お風呂、勇気、銭湯、石鹸。石鹸難しいのに漢字。よく頑張られましたね。By the way, when you're trying to write Japanese, you don't always have to write them in kanji. Because I don't know how to write second in kanji either. Obviously, I know how to write the first kanji, but the second kanji ain't. ain't on my dictionary. いや、で、石鹸の剣とか書けないですわよ。すごいなぁ。読めるけど書けない感じだ。やっぱそうですよね。よかった。私だけじゃない。Delphina san is backing me up too. Delphina san is saying that I can read it, but I can't write it. Exactly the same as me. 石鹸すごいな。Can't believe. You're better than me. But again, you don't always have to write things in kanji. But that handwriting though, I know it's so clean. いや、ほんとね、すごい。字も綺麗だし。これ難しいですよ。バランス綺麗に取るの。Oops, oops, oops. Okay, next. タガさん。はい。おー、すごい。ポケモンレッスン。乾燥で皮膚がカサカサになりました。あくびをすると雨が降る。肉肝油。牛肉肝油。鶏肉肝油私もあんま使わない。てか、肝油って読むんだ。初めて知ったかもしれない。やばいやばいやばい。いや、賞味期限and消費期限 is very different. 原産国、製品、用例像、用例と。素晴らしいですね。Wow. The words. 消費期限 and 賞味期限 are different. So if you are to buy お土産 and keep that in mind and be careful. そう、消費期限と賞味期限ね、間違えちゃったらとんでもないことになりますからね。It's gonna be bad if you forget which one is which. 賞味期限 is best buy. 消費期限 is expiration date. It's gonna expire. Do not eat after. はい。私の祖母は牛肉の脂身を美味しい美味しいと食べる方でした。やばDang. はい、ということでね。これいいやつですね。全部知ってる単語なので、英文を読んで大体の日本語に訳すことはできるのですが、日文から英文にするのがどうしてこんなに難しいのか。これ、Okay, this is a really important thing. I know, I need to like speed up. I'm so sorry. すいません。スピードを上げないといけない。うそみさん is saying that it is so much easier to translate things from English to Japanese, but it's so hard to translate from Japanese to English. Isn't that something a lot of you also go through? It should be a lot easier for you to translate from Japanese to English or from Japanese to your native tongue, but vice versa, trying to translate things into Japanese should feel a lot harder for you. いや、これは皆様そうだと思います。私でもそうです。Like, it's the same with me. Like, it's so much easier for me to translate things into Japanese rather than translating things from Japanese into English. It's just how it is. But the point is that even professionals, I'm not saying that I'm calling myself a professional, but even, for example, like, professional translators would go through this as well. It's not just you. これは難しいやつ。その通りです。文法だけではなく、どれだけその言語に慣れている。ボイスが歌いボイだけではなく使用ボイで変わるのです。ちなみにプロの翻訳家や通訳の方でも方に訳す方がよっぽど簡単だとよく言ってらっしゃる。U の漢字が違う。That's not the kanji that I'm looking for. So it's not just a skill issue on my end. It is not. It is everybody. Do not worry. So it really has to do with how much you're used to the language. It's not just grammar. It is obviously the vocabulary. Because, just like how we talked about, 病気 can be translated into sickness, illness, or disease. But when you think about it, those three words are used at various different times. The way you would use them will be very different. You'll have to understand that in order to be able to translate things, And so, again, it is not just about grammar. When you think about that, it's more about the usage of words, how much you're used to using those words, how you know how to use these words. And there's this idea called, I don't actually know how to say this in English. Let me look it up. 使用語彙って英語でなんて言うの？理解語彙。英語で。Active vocabulary and passive vocabulary. There we go. So there's this idea called active vocabulary and passive vocabulary. Passive vocabulary is vocabulary or words that you would know. Active vocabulary are vocabulary that you will be able to use in real life without even thinking about it. I'm trying to think of a good example. My examples are obviously not going to be the best because I'm still learning English and I'm not a native speaker. But imagine, for example, words like, I don't know, what's a good one? See, this is a really hard thing to try to come up with. Nuclear power plant. Imagine that imagine that you already, imagine that you're an 8-year-old kid or I don't know, a 10-year-old. I'm pretty sure a 10-year-old would kind of understand what a nuclear power plant is in your native tongue, but can that kid use it? Probably not. Or photosynthesis. You will probably encounter that in science class, but will you be able to use it until you really understand what it means? That's the difference. Passive vocabulary, a lot of us have so much more passive vocabulary than active vocabulary. When it comes to learning a new language, those active vocabulary is going to be far less than you think. You might think, because especially that you are now currently studying Japanese, your passive vocabulary is getting bigger and bigger. But active vocabulary is going to be so much hard to cultivate that because you have to be actively using them. Like, that's the thing about JLPT too. A lot of people say that, like, you know, JLPT N1, like those words, you just don't use them in real life. But in reality, a lot of Japanese people do use them in real life. It's just that it will be your passive vocabulary. You just don't feel like it's going to be active vocabulary to you because the situations that you'll be using those in is going to be very limited. ちなみにすいません。またね、語っちゃうんですけど。実は言語には、理解語彙と使用語彙っていうものがあるんですね。理解語彙そのまんま理解してる語彙であって、使用語彙っていうのは使える語彙。何も考えずに使うことができる。みたいな。まあ、例えば今私、原子力発電所とか、光合成っていう単語を英語で出したんですけど、この2つの単語を皆様が授業で習ったとして、理解できるとして、読んだ時に、これ前やったわ、わかるわってなったとして、普通に日常会話で使うことができるかって言ったら微妙じゃないですか。例えば今さ、なんか、わかんない。窓のそばで横たわって今何してんのって今光合成してるみたいなね。日本語だったら割と使えると思うんですけど、ね。なんで難しいかって、これもあると思うんです。もちろん文法もあるし、使い方ももちろん分かってないといけないし、でも、理解語彙よりも使用語彙がもっとちゃんとできてないと訳すってできないんですよね。難しいことでね。ということで、So, if you feel like, this is a big if, but if you are feeling like you are bumping into a ceiling when you're learning a new language, this might be something that you want to work on. You might have a lot of passive vocabulary. You want to make them active. You might know crazy amount of words in Japanese, but the next step for you is going to be able to try to use them. How to try to use them? The easiest way is to hire a private tutor. I know, but the way you use them has to come through like writing or speaking. And writing, you'll need somebody to, look through that for you. And obviously speaking too, you have to have somebody that you can talk to. When it comes to language study, the easiest way, honestly, really, is to just hire a tutor. So, good luck. We can do it. You can do it. I can do it. We can do it. Okay, sorry. Let's go through really quick. What is that? I know it's almost like 11:30. It's bad. What is it? ちょっとね、時間がなくなってきちゃった。This is why I'm supposed to do this like once a week instead of like once every 2 weeks or once a month. 本当に良くないですね。申し訳ない。はい。そう。Okay. I'm just gonna like them all. ごめんなさい。全部ライクします。after. 見たらわかしてる。合ってます。ちなみに、ですわ。OK。ちょっと待って。急いで終わらせます。I would like to go through them really quick. シャンプーとソープに S がつかない。シャンプー、ソープス。難しいな。I'll answer this later. 後で。Ooh! Did you like change the contrast? Because I can see this a lot better. コントラスト変えましたか？見やすい。Wait, let me retweet that. あね、三人称単数ね。はい。三人称単数難しいですね。Grape. Okay. Okay, get your questions coming, by the way. ということで皆様すいません。もう残りね、パーっていくので、パーっていっちゃうので、 質問、どうぞ。ごめんなさい。そうなの？卵サンドのタネを作るとき、コンソメを入れると、ご家庭の卵サンドの味がワンランクアップするのでおすすめです。なんだって？ This is really good information. Apparently, if you put consomme, like vegetable stock and stock in your eggs when you make egg sandwich at home, it gets better. That's good info. Yes. Okay. さて、was the translation for the second fifth? 田中さんが話してる人ですね。田中さんが話してる人です。Correct? It actually works. やばいやばいやばい。やばいやばいやばい。We're finally in September. It's like September 20th. 文脈で判断。はい。残念ながら。文脈。そうっすね。I feel bad for rushing through so much. 申し訳ない、こんなに。バンバンバンバンなんかもう、ちゃんと見てます。I see how much you are working on things. I'm so proud of you. I just hope that y'all know this. And to make things worse, I kind of really badly want to go to the bathroom. あとやばいんですけど、お手洗いも行っていいですか？もう今日全然ダメ、グダグダごめんなさい。Okay, keep the questions coming. We'll start the Q&A session. Well, and I'm gonna go to the bathroom and be back. ごめんなさい。すぐお手洗い行って帰ってくるんで、質問書いておいてください。すぐ行ってきます。間違えちゃった。I am back. ごめんなさい。Okay, I'll go through all the posts and after that I will start with the question of what playlist would be best for a beginner. ということで、I will just click on the ones that I will answer another time. おかえり、ただいまです。Yee, sorry. I know I said 10 minutes. I cannot believe that it's been 40 minutes. ごめんなさい。もう10分って言ったのに40分もかかってる。申し訳ない。もう本当にごめんなさい。本当に申し訳ない。Oh, I'm just gonna say this while I'm going through them. I'm just looking through them to see if there's any specific questions. ごめんなさい。質問がね、あるかどうかだけ見てるんですけれども。If you want to work on your handwriting, the best way is to use a pencil. Optimistic. Optimistic, optimist. 最後の似てるけど意味が違うなと思ってたら語源が同じようなのが届きました。そうですね。Optimistic and optimist. The root word is the same. Optimistic pride. No, optimist pride was it? 緊張 躊躇か。調子怖い。よいしょ。Oh yes, use a pencil. Did I say that? If you're starting off Japanese and if you want to work on your handwriting first, use a pencil. Okay, I'm gonna go back. I am so sorry for rushing through. ということですいません。もうすごいね。バーってやっちゃったんですけど。Okay, let's do this. Guess my poster not showing up. You posted? It's not showing up. Like, what? You know, sometimes Twitter, like, shadow bans you. Can there be a possibility that you're shadow banned? 申し訳ない。I mean, I went through all of the stuff that I can see. Oh gosh, that makes me feel bad. I'm so sorry. I don't know why, but maybe I get shadow banned a lot. So, I mean, which is obviously not really good. But I'm sorry. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to be able to answer them here. ということで、申し訳ない。すごいね、時間かかっちゃったんですけど、Q&A セッションに移ろうと思います。OK! ということで、最初にね、聞いていただいたもの。I'll start with something that was asked by Mario-san here first. Do I have a playlist for beginners? I actually do. One thing that I would say is that I have this self-introduction video where I actually explain like what kind of videos is available for you. So if you don't mind, watch this. ということで、もしね、初めての方いらっしゃったら、よろしければ私の自己紹介動画からぜひ見てください。自己紹介動画ではあるんですけど、どうやってこの、なんていうか、なんかどういう感じの動画があるのかっていうのはね、説明する動画となっております。And then, I want you to... Wait, I can probably just show you my YouTube channel. 普通に YouTube 開けばいいんだ。Let's do that. There we go. Let's make it smaller. Okay. ちょっと、よくない。やばい。よくないわけじゃないけど、どうしよう。やばい、ちょっと、いや、まあ別に悪くはないか。見なかったことにしてください。ちょっと、いろいろと恥ずかしいことになっちゃう。ごめんなさい、私だって推しがいるんです。はい、ということでね。Okay, anyways. This is my YouTube channel. If you go to the home screen, oh yeah, you can watch my gameplays too. But if you scroll down on the home screen, you'll see that there's different sections, and that's what I want you to go through. If you go to the different sections, there's a past streams that I haven't updated in a while. And there's this learn Japanese through anime. If you like anime, I know I haven't uploaded anything in like 2 years. I will eventually come back to it once I feel like I can. Sorry, it was like draining me. But if you scroll a little bit more down, you'll see this Japanese for beginners section. There's this Japanese for absolute beginners where you can just like go through all of them, and once you go through all of them, this should kind of cover all the basics that I personally would want you to know when you're starting off learning Japanese. And once you're done with that, you can go to the writing system where I share hiragana, and then there's the katakana. If you want to gain access to language classes, I have collab streams where I have explained where I taught very specific parts of the language to my friends. And then I will do this again, but I have my Japanese 101 on stream stuff. But yeah, I have very small numbers of grammar videos, which will be updated, and vocabulary videos. But I would say I think it will be best if you could go to the Japanese for beginners and start from the left. Start from the left, move to the right. Those are usually the best way. Hi. Okay, thank you for asking. I hope that helps. ということで、お聞きくださいましてありがとうございます。以上です。Okay. Thank you. I can vouch. The Japanese for Absolute Beginner playlist helped when I didn't know any Japanese months ago. Wait, you didn't know any Japanese months ago? Really? You sure? Dang! I thought you have been learning Japanese like at least a year or two. Wow. 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 That's amazing. You're doing so good. いや、素晴らしいですね。Wow, I'm just like impressed. いや、すごい。普通に感動しちゃいますわ。ね、ダニエルさん、こんにちは。Yeah, I just started learning this year. Wow. I mean, thank you. Well, I mean, like, that kind of also makes me feel really proud of myself, too. I'm like, well, I helped out. But thank you. Okay. Now moving on. Oh, if you have any questions in regards to Japanese, anything specific about Japanese, any grammar, anything cultural, this is the time that you can ask. ってことでね、もし今から少しでもこれ気になるっていうことだったり、勉強をするにあたってこれわかんないとか、もうシンプルモチベーションの上げ方とかでも何でもいいです。あったら教えてください。Okay. Can you talk about the usage of the color green when talking about certain things? Oh, you mean like green in terms of Japan? Ooh, the color green, the infamous color green. Oh, 来ましたね。緑色。Hi. I'm studying on colors right now, and there are e-adjective colors and noun colors. Are all the words that ends with e an e-adjective? Yes. Green actually doesn't just mean blue. It can also mean like black. What? Why? Why? Okay, really quick. Let me just like type it somewhere. Oh, これちょっと、これはあれですわね。瀬取りだ、瀬取り。ですぞ。green equals blue y. なんで日本語では緑のことを青っていうの？ Why? Like traffic light, for example. The answer is actually quite simple. In ancient Japan, green meant blue. There's a podcast. I forgot where you could hear it. But apparently, like, if you look into various different cultures, you will see that a lot of cultures start with very limited color palettes. Which is very interesting, yes. But apparently, like, imagine, like, I'm trying to think of a good color, like mauve, or like nude, or like, pastel pink. Pastel pink is pretty common. Imagine like flamingo pink. Those colors didn't exist when Shakespeare was still around, or like Socrates was still around. In like, you know, ancient Greek, ancient Rome, Old English, those colors just simply didn't exist. Colors develop over time alongside with languages, which is a very interesting like fact when you think about it. In ancient Japan, like in Japanese, there are very limited color palettes. And when you think about colors, so this can also answer, not to Yusan's question too, but the colors that can become e-adjectives were the primary colors that existed in Japanese. The color green just simply didn't exist. But simply didn't exist really isn't the right way to explain it. The color green obviously always existed in nature. It's just that people didn't know how to distinguish the color green and the color blue. And so, that is why color green and color blue were the same, because the primary colors were the same. Like, you know, there's this like meme that goes around all the time when people talk about like female makeup colors palettes. Like, this is the same with my husband, Master. Like, he just does not understand the difference between off-white and white, which kind of like bugs me so much. You know, like sometimes I would wear this bright red lipstick and I'll be like, oh, this doesn't go with my, you know, with my skirt because my skirt is wine red, and he's like, they're the same color, and I'm like, it is not. Imagine that happening in languages and in cultures. Like, people just couldn't distinguish them. And so green obviously existed, blue existed. It's just that to people back in the days, those two colors were the same. Just like how wine red and bright color red is the same in my master's eye, which I do not understand. So, these are the primary colors in the Japanese language. 白 I just hate my keyboard. 白、赤、青、黒。待って。白、赤、黒、黄色、茶色。Okay. These were the primary colors. When Japanese started to, you know, like get not bigger, but like, anyways, these were the primary colors. 黄色。そう、日本語でも説明しますね。これマジで面白いから。これ、日本語だけじゃないんですよ。世界的にそうなの。色って文化と言語とともに発達していくものなんですわよね。例えば、考えてみて。フラミンゴピンクっていう色はきっとソクラテスの時代には存在しなかったし、パッションイエローとか最近流行りのビタミンカラーなんてものはきっとシェイクスピアそんな色知らないですわよ。でも、これは本当に面白いことで、実際にね、何だったかなwhat's one of the oldest books in history? It's from ancient Greek. There's this なんだっけブルベモン、そう。そうだったの？そうですよ。Yeah, I will click. What do you mean? You'll click? Oh, you mean like the colors of red? Yes! Iliad to Odyssey! Yes, the Iliad and Odyssey. Sorry, I don't know how to say that in English, but I remember, I think like there's this part in that book, or that like, you know, in the words that describes that there's like, I forgot how it goes, but there's seed that is supposed to look like wine, which kind of doesn't make sense, does it? 確かね、イリアスとオデュッセイアだったと思うんですけど、ワイン色の海みたいな表記があるんですよ。I might be wrong, but I believe it was from Ilias and Odyssea. 確かイリアスとオデュッセイアだったと思う。ワイン色の海って何ってなりません？ I mean, like, I don't drink wine, but I know that wine looks like, you know, very deep. It's like, it's not even red. People call it wine red, but it's like in between red and purple. And so just like that, if you look into very old literature, you'll see the colors are not depicted in a way that we know. Some people just think that, you know, maybe whoever wrote those literature were colorblind, or like, but it's just that it's happening all over history. So a lot of people do think that this is just, you know, like human evolution type thing. People started to be able to figure out differences in colors as human beings developed. And so again, these are the primary colors that existed in ancient Japanese, which is why they're also adjectives. They were very often used. Shiro, white, aka, red, ao, blue. 黒, black, 黄色, yellow, and tidal green. And so it doesn't mean that we think that green and blue is the same color. We don't think that green light actually looks blue. It's just that starting in ancient Japan, green and blue were the same colors. And so because we have that, we still call our green light 青信号. It's really interesting if you think about it. So I still don't understand what difference between indigo and violet colors. What? They're so different though. はい。ということで、なんかよくね、これ多分ね、色を研究されてる方が言ってらっしゃったことだったと思うんですけど、イーリアスとオデュッセイアに関わらず、歴史的にすごい古い時代に書かれた、本とか読んでると、ありえない色の表現が出てくることがちょくちょくあるんですって。これはなんか、国とか文化に関係なく。だからこれはシンプルにもしかしたら人間の色彩感覚っていうのが少しずつ発達してきてる可能性があるみたいな。なんで、実際昔の日本人は青と緑の判別がつかなくて、全部同じ色として認識していた可能性もあるし、シンプル、青とね、紺色の区別がつかないっていうか同じ色やみたいな人もいるじゃないですか。ああいう感じで同じ色として、本当はちょっとの違いは分かったかもしれないけど認識していた可能性もあるみたいなんですよね。なので、我々日本人は未だに緑色の信号のことを青信号って呼ぶんです。そう、おもろくない？ね、ギリシャ神話？そう、ギリシャ神話じゃないんですけど、わかんない、まあ、イリアスとオデュッセイアね。書いたの誰でしたっけ？そう、ホメロスだ、ホメロス。ね。に出てくる。イリアスとオデュッセイアにワイン色の海ってのが出てくるとか、なんか他にもね、あったはずなんですよ。これ私、以前ちょっと勉強したことがあるっていうか、ちょっとだけ研究したことがあるんですけどね。They're all purple to me, but indigo, but well, they're different to me, at least. But yeah, so, again, that's the difference. It's just like historical stuff. Thank you for asking. Hope that helps. Hope that answers your question. Title is brown, yes. ということで、ADJFSK さん、はい。ということでね。Next question. Hi, my reading, writing, and listening are intermediate, but my speaking ability is bad. Even language exchange has only helped a little. Do you have a recommendation? Lately started shadowing. I'm gonna say something that you might not want to hear. Really, like, hire a professional tutor. Like, that really is the easiest way to improve your speaking ability. Speaking is always hard, because if you think about it, language is usually a communication tool. Like, reading, the writer is communicating to you. Writing, you are trying to communicate through your language to others, or even the future you if you are writing a journal. Listening, the speaker is communicating with you, and speaking is the hardest one because it has to be both sides. You can't just be like, it can't be one-sided. And so the easiest way to develop your speaking abilities is to actually speak to a person. But language exchange is a really tricky part. Language exchange would be very beneficial if you have developed your language skill enough that you're maybe like, would be like lower advanced level. You have to at least to be that level. You want to be able to know what good words and bad words are, obviously, because one of the worst things that can happen is random Japanese people or people who say that they can speak Japanese teaching you really weird stuff. So you want to at least be able to have that foundation in order to get to that level, right? But when it comes to beginner or intermediate, again, the easiest way to develop your speaking skills is to hire a professional who knows how to correct you in the right time. so that you'll be able to feel comfortable in speaking and not worry too much about being taught something wrong. So, yeah. Ne. So there's also language exchange apps to practice speaking. Those can work too, but again, I usually don't always trust people on the internet. So yeah, that's the it's really hard, I understand, like, because it usually does cost money and stuff, but just go to a professional. Go to somebody that has reviews on the internet. And I'm also not saying that you have to pay me money, but like I also am on this app called Backstage where I do give language tutoring. So if you want to try that out, you can do that too. But go to a professional. Like, you don't want to go to a random Japanese person, even if they're willing to. You probably can tell, like, even if you're a native speaker in a certain language, it is really hard to teach that. Teaching a certain thing and having a skill is very different. You want to go to somebody who can teach you. Teaching skills is not something that can be acquired in a short period of time. So the easiest way to figure out if the person is qualified is simply if they have a certificate or a background knowledge, or like if they have, you know, for example, a diploma in a certain field. So if you really want to improve your speaking, hire a tutor. That is really the easiest way. But thank you for asking. ありがとうございます。If you're also learning with your sibling, hire a tutor too. You can maybe split the bill. It would be easier. Maybe. So there simply wasn't a need to distinct shades of colors, and thus no need to give them different names until fashion became a thing. Well, now people give like lipsticks, crazy amount of like crazy types of names, right? I wonder what my current lipstick is named. I'm just really curious. ちょっと待って、ちょっと気になってきた。私のリップって今何です？ I just really want to know. There you go. For example, the name of the shade of the lipstick I currently wear is called Adventuring. I mean, if you want to consider that a color. いや、色ってね、面白いですわね。私、色そんなわかんないんですけどね。ちなみに私が今、もうでもこれ何年になるかな？もうね、5年以上ずっと一番お気に入りの色があって、アドベンチャリング、冒険してるっていう色。Some lipsticks have very, like, crazy names. Anyways, I don't know if you're interested, but the name of the lipstick, the shade of the color that I use is from Sephora collection, lipstick 63 Adventuring. Such a pretty color. Okay, let's move on. ちなみに私がね、使ってるのはセフォラって、アメリカかなの企業のオリジナルリップ。63番です。マジで可愛い色なんですよね。Such a pretty color. Really a pretty color. Super pretty. Okay, next question. Did it be used after listening multiple events, locations, etc.? Like, 週末に先生の歌と YouTube ミュージックウィーケンドで音楽シーンを体感しました。YouTube ミュージックウィーケンドで音楽シーンを体感しようのやつじゃないですか。でis a particle. ではね、okay, let's write that down. では、格助詞ですね。So there is a particle that adds information. Some particles don't add extra information, but they adds information. で has multiple usages. It can explain a place. It can explain like usages. Not usages. 方法ってなんだ? Ways. Well, I guess usages. Usage. Why is this? 待って、私これやだ。左空。よしよし、that's better. では、place, ways, usage とか、materials. You can also use it to explain materials, reason, or like cause. These are kind of similar if you think about it. 待って、状態。not situation, like condition of things. You can also use it for 断定はまあ使わなくていいか。It can also be used for like a specific amount of time or space or numbers. Okay. So that is one of the harder ones. ちなみに格助詞でめっちゃ難しいです。It's one of the harder ones. So you can go slow. Take your time in trying to memorize these. But they can be used for like place, ways, usage, materials, reason, cause, condition, specific amount of time or space or numbers. So looking at your sentence here. 週末に先生の歌うと YouTube Music Weekend で音楽シーンを体験しました。In this case, it's more of like a place. I know, like, you know, it can be a virtual place, like at YouTube. Like, imagine saying something like, I am learning Japanese at YouTube. I know, like, at isn't really fitting in English, but in Japanese it kind of is. You can say something like, 東京でご飯を食べます。I eat food or like dinner or lunch at Tokyo. Or you can say things like, フォークでパスタを食べます。I should write that down. 東京でご飯を食べます。東京でご飯を食べます。I recently learned that I can just keep my MacBook Pro open so that I can type faster on the comments. MacBook Pro を開いてたらコメント書くの楽になるって最近やっと気づきました。Okay. So, okay, what would you suggest instead? I was meaning to say that I experienced music through your karaoke stream and YouTube Music Weekend. You're actually right. Like, that is exactly how you can use it. Well, 音楽シーンを体験 is a very YouTube thing to say, though. I will say that. So, like, the usage, grammatically, you're not wrong at all. It's just that 音楽シーンを体験しよう is like a very specific way that YouTube describes their things on their ads. And so, I just wouldn't use this word 音楽シーン because I feel like that is probably what the YouTube people decided to try to translate the English music scene into Japanese, and it's just not really fitting into the Japanese language, although it is very official. Like, it's from official YouTube. But I would say, 週末に先生の歌枠と YouTube Music Weekend で You can still use で音楽を楽しみました。That would just simply be better. But the usage of で is right here. はい。So yeah, hope that helps. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I copied it from the trailer. What's the normal term? Yeah, it's just that, I mean, people just tend to accept what YouTube or like Netflix or those really big corporations says. Because, like, it's like they're own lingo. It just feels also kind of hip too, so it's nothing wrong about it. Now, is there more information somewhere about your private tutoring? Sorry, it's just, sorry, I know I haven't, I usually try to set up the schedule, but I'm like secretly on the app every week. But here's, once I'm done with my exam, I will be more active in posting when I'll be on it. But you can go to this stream and I'll have all the information there. Oh yeah, that's way simpler. Thank you. Oh, I want to avoid lingo pushed by corporations, so this helps. It's not like it's bad. It's just that it's very specific. Like corporations do tend to try to like brand their lingo too, which makes sense. It's like their branding strategy. So again, it totally makes sense. So yeah. This. Hi. So yeah, well, I am on this app called Backstage. It's a Japanese app, but there is an English manual to it. So you can still find it all over the world. It is, sorry, you do have to pay money because, you know. But it's an app where you can talk to VTubers. And I'm on this app on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. JST. I will try to be on it like more often once my exam's over. But people just come so that they can try to practice speaking Japanese with me or just to have a little chit chat. But mainly, people mainly come to get language sessions. So yeah, it can be as short as 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's all up to you. Hopefully it helps. Hope it helps. Hi. ということでね、Thank you for your question. Anything else? 他に質問ある方いらっしゃいますか? If not, I'm gonna start answering Usomi-san's question. Usomi-san asked, oops. What's the difference between travel and trip? What is the difference? Travel and trip. I would say, like right off the bat, I can easily say that travel feels like it's more enjoyment, and trip feels like, you know, for example, a work trip. But what is the difference? Travel, trip. What do you think? Help me out so that I can answer Usomi-san. ということで、travel と trip の違いは何ですかって質問がね、あるんですけれども。なんだOh, it just occurred to me. Sorry, this has something to do with colors again, but you know, depending on different languages, the number of the color of the rainbows are different, you know. Here in Japan, we have 7 colors. But I heard that in English there's like 6. And I heard that some places only has 5. Is that true? ちなみに、ごめんなさい、色の話に戻るんですけれども、ちょっとだけね、思い出したことがあるんで、我々日本人って虹の色7色だと思ってるじゃないですか。英語って6色らしいですわよ。マジ? Yeah. I was like, what? How? But yes. The colors of our rainbows, usually 7. So yeah, another interesting factor about colors and languages. Keep that in mind. I think it's the other way. Travel feels more like a feels more formal to me. I travel for business versus I went on a trip. Oh, okay. I mean, a trip can be fun too. School trips were fun. I think trips are short and traveling can be long. Oh, I also split traveling between traveling, tourism, and exploration. Travel is the more broad usage, I believe. I see. 二次国によって5色だったり8色だったりするそうですね。8色のとこもあるんですね。暇な時虹の色の数を数えたら10くらいかなって思ったのを思い出す。確かにね、人によっては多分違いますわよね。グラデーションですからね。確かにね。Okay. Let's start writing these down. Travel. Travel more broad. School trips. Business trips. Actually, I'm wrong. Trips can be long too. I want to travel across the country versus I want to go on a trip across the country. It's basically the same, just a verb versus noun. Verb versus noun, true. Travel, verb, trip. That is probably one of the biggest differences, isn't it? Verb versus noun. 確かに travel は動詞、trip は名詞ですわね。これ、割と大きな違いの一つかも。But there's also the term business trip. But yes, trips does sound more casual. What is the difference? Okay, let's also look into what certain dictionaries say. British Council! What a better place to go. Trip or travel? Trip is a noun. Yes, that's what they're saying. Most of the time, trip refers to a specific time that we go somewhere. We don't use it to talk about the activity or traveling in general. Ooh, that's a pretty interesting explanation. The word travel can be used as a noun or as a verb. When we use travel as a noun, we're talking about the activity of going somewhere in general, not about a specific trip. It's an uncountable noun. Okay, I feel like that explains a lot more. Let's try to, summarize that. I feel travel is movement from place to another, and trip is like going to a place and then we'll turn back. My school never taught us that. I don't think any schools will actually teach you that. I feel like this is definitely something that a learner of a specific language would come up with asking rather than a native speaker of a language. But now it's making sense. Thank you, British Council. Okay, let's try. I'm gonna try to summarize that. Okay, travel. Trip refers to specific time used for time when we go somewhere. And not about the activity. So I feel like trip is the action of going, while traveling is more of like the activities that you do while you're on a trip. Am I understanding this right? 合ってるかな? Again, wait, verb can also be a noun. Can be a verb and noun. That's important. Travel can be a verb and a noun. Oh wait, no, travel is the activity of going somewhere. And travel... okay, so trip is about the time, while travel is the activity, and trip can be counted, while travel cannot. So, yeah, even though I understand it is kind of hard to explain, it's very hard to explain. But I think this is like the best I can summarize things. これで私ができる要約 こんなもんかもしれない。We often use the word travel combined with other nouns or adjectives. Travel agent, travel documents, true. We can use a variety of nouns before trip. Oh, that's a really that's a big difference. I never really caught that. Oh, wow. Okay. Travel. Where was it? Travel can be combined with other nouns or adjectives, but it has to come before. Like, you say travel first, while trip, noun comes before trips. Those are huge differences. Ah! Eureka! ってことで、うわ、これめちゃくちゃ面白い。travel は、動詞にも名詞にもなる。その、どこかに行くことの行動自体を指す、みたいですね。trip っていうのは、名詞。で、その、どっかに行った時のことを指すみたいです。で、だから数えることができる。travel は数えることができなくて、trip の場合、名詞がその前につく。みたいです。接頭辞的な感じになるわけね。違うけど、ちょっと複合名詞になるわけですけど。Whoa! Wow! We can unify the formula by saying travel to noun and trip to noun. True. True. Well, actually, sorry, I like my math equations. It just makes me personally understand it a bit better. Oh, and sorry, this is not about like making it into a sentence. It's like, you know, saying things like travel documents or like business trips. When you combine them to make more like idiom type words. Not idioms, but, you know, different like other words. Hi. So, other places say something like, travel indicates going to a different place in order to have fun, while trip, indicates the act of going on a journey, which I'm like, huh? Is there really much of a difference? But those are very interesting. Yeah. I love the British Council website. They have very interesting stuff on there. 概念的な旅すると数えられる旅行ってから。はあ、そうなのか。もちろんなんかちょっとね、英語に至っては、それにつなげることができる言葉っていうのも、単語の種類も違ってくるみたいですね。Traveling merchants were going on a journey and maybe not always having fun. So true. So we have to like get rid of the fun part. I guess like looking at this, it feels more grammatical. Like it feels more about a grammar thing than a meaning thing, huh? 思ってたより語彙なんか意味的なものではなくて文法的なものっぽいですよね。Well, I learned something very new today. I'm gonna go ahead and respond to this. 修学旅行は trip なのか。school trip ですね。確かにね。修学旅行、まあ、日本特有の文化ですからね、修学旅行。またちょっと違うかもですけど。勉強してきました。travel, trip. trip は動詞じゃない、じゃあ名詞。travel は動詞にも名詞にもなる。で、どこかに行く。その行動自体の をさす。で、travel は名詞や形容詞と後に言葉が続く。で、trip が Sorry, I'm writing on my MacBook so that's easier for me to type. どこかに行く、その時間や、時間的範囲のことを指す。そのうちもっといい言い方がありますでしょうね。数えることはの名詞プラス grips 前に言葉が来て他の複合動詞複合名詞で合ってる？複合名詞なんて言葉あったか？あったわに続くことによって複合名詞がいる。おし OK! Whew. Have actually just been using such terms without much thought. Really interesting. Me too. Alright. Okay. Well, that was a really good brain using moment. いや、いい感じに脳みそ使いましたわね。よかったよかった。And I just realized there's like 34 people watching. That's like exactly the amount that we would usually have in a Japanese classroom, like elementary school, high school. I feel like it's usually ranging between like 28 to 36. So this feels cool. It's like, it's an actual classroom. いや、すごい。今ちょっと見てみたんですけど、別にね、同説がどうとか言うつもりないんですけど、今見てくださってる方34人いらっしゃるみたいなんですけど、普通に教室じゃない？普通クラスって、なんか、少なくても28人、多くて36人から38人みたいなイメージなんですけど。普通の教室だ。嬉しいな。ってことは、あれなのかな？もしかして、早弁してたり、ね、居眠りしたり落書きしてる人がいるのかな？ I'll be sitting at the back. No, Haki-san, welcome. You're gonna be sitting at the front. No, I'm imagining that there will be some of you who's like secretly trying to sneak in some food or like... Because you're so hungry and you can't wait until lunchtime, or there'll be some of you who are secretly asleep, or some of you are trying to like doodle on your notebooks. 高校35人に教室だった私28人だった。Part of the class. This really is becoming a class. You know, eventually it's gonna be a big call lecture. まあ、そのうちね、でっけえ講義室でね、するくらいになりますけどね。そのうちね。はい。OK。ってことで、どうでしょう？ Any questions? Classmates, yay! Classmates! 僕のクラスは40ですね。お、結構いますね。40! 結構いらっしゃいますよね。はい。では。そろそろだったら、行こうかな。OK。同級生。皆様同級生。まあ同級か。ってことでね、本日はそろそろ以上にしようかな。普通に大学で VTuber と語学の講師として招かれそう。いや、本当にいつか、もう夢。でもね、私学士しか持ってないんで、大学でってなったらさすがに修士はいるよな。現実問題。Yeah, like my goal, like I would love to one day be invited to like an actual university to do a lecture on VTubing and like languages and stuff, gosh. That'd be so cool, but I only have a undergrad diploma degree. I'm pretty sure I would at least need a master's on something. Yeah, ganbaro. I mean, I don't know if you knew this, but I have mutuals with an actual university professor who is studying VTubing, who is a professor at a university. I think that's one of the biggest differences that I am seeing between Japanese VTubing and Western VTubing. Like, although VTubing is still very much aside, like a very subculture, a subculture of a subculture, really, and it is not really widely accepted into the Japanese culture. There's a lot of people who are in various different types of fields who are also VTuber. Nah. I was about to say, imagine having masters in VTubing. I mean, like, I would say probably that would be like anthropology. Imagine writing your thesis on VTubing, which a lot of people already are doing. ぜひ講義受けたいです。やりてー。いや、本当にやりたい。皆さんもゾンビ先生とかね、いらっしゃるのご存知？ Like, people have already published anthropology books on VTubing too. いや、もうすでに民族学系のね、方々が VTuber についての民族学系のね、学術書って呼んで、まあでもいいんじゃないかなと思われることをね、本とか出されてたりしますし。そう、ゾンビ先生、近畿大学総合社会学部の教授さんでいらっしゃる。すごいですわよね。You know, like, I'm gonna work on this exam now. For now, I'm gonna be a certified Japanese teacher, and then I will try to work on somehow work on my master's. One day you might end up in a book. That's actually not even just a dream, that is a goal that I have. I have so many things I would like to achieve as a VTuber. So much. Like, I really want to publish textbooks. I want to be, like, continue on with... I've always wanted to be in academia, but, like, I just don't have the money to, you know? So it would be cool if I could do something with... Well, my real goal is to make crazy amount of money on VTubing so that I can just, like, keep on going to school and VTube, like, do my activities at the same time. Sorry. I know, not, like, obviously, everything is not about money, but I feel like then I'll be able to actually balance my passion, studying, and work at the same time. And imagine how cool that would be. Now, that's the secret goal, my secret goal. I really want to end up, like, I really want to make textbooks. Like, really bad. I really want to end up in books too. I really want to, like... I mean, a lot of people say that I'm young enough. Like, I'm still young and I still have a lot of years ahead to, like, really... If I really want to achieve a PhD. But, we'll see. It just costs a lot. 授業でMizuki Englishのリスニングしたいをしたい。本当にそれくらいになりたい。本当に。言語とちょっとあんま関係ない活動されてる VTuber さんがね、英語の教科書とか出されたりしてるじゃないですか。あれ見てもう、喉から手が出るところか、喉じゃないですよ、もう。わかんない。胃の奥底から手が伸びて出てくるぐらい羨ましいもん。ね。そう。I definitely thought you were gonna say, my main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody. What a reference. I feel that money is a means to an end. It really is. I just have to keep on trying hard. いけるよ、いつか。行きます。行けるよじゃない。もうね、行く。もう諦めてる場合じゃないから。頑張るしかね。いや、本当にでもね、すごいですよ。いろんなすごい VTuber さんたくさんいるから。Like, I am so grateful for being able to know so many great people. Like, all those VTubers. I don't know if you, like, saw this, if you've seen this, but there's even this like space VTuber who is an official ambassador for like the science department of the government right now. I mean, how crazy is that? Like, there's so much potential, I feel like, in VTubing and education, and it would be so cool. いや、すごいですよ。皆さんも見たこともあるかと思うんですけどね。割と最近ね、めちゃくちゃ最近ね、発表された内閣府主催第7回宇宙開発利用対象 PR キャラクター VTuber こんな時代が来てるんだみたいなね。いやー、かっこよすぎる。かっこいい。友達に水木さんのことよく紹介してるんですけどね。もうその気持ちだけでめちゃくちゃ嬉しい。ありがとうございます。最近ごめんなさいね。メンブレすることもよくあるんですけど、ちょっとメンブレやめるんで。いや、やめるってとか言って。ちょっと頑張りますわ。本当に。ね。I've heard of that. It's so cool. Is it not? It is so cool. Amazing. So amazing. So cool. Gosh. ということでね、まあ、引き続き頑張ってまいります。Okay. That being said, I think that's gonna be it for me for now. ということで、以上かな。本日は以上となります。皆様ありがとうございました。Again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming. Any questions so far? Anything? 他にありますかね？メンブレしたら落ち込まず休んでね。ありがとうございます。休んでる場合じゃね。そうなんですよ。それが問題なんですよ。休んでる場合じゃね。とりあえずね、11月まで頑張るんで。はい。Well, I'm gonna be trying to make more videos, and starting tomorrow, I'll be back to doing my study with me streams on Twitch. If you're new here, I am usually on Twitch almost every day doing study with me and co-working sessions. And that is simply because I am currently studying for a government exam that is coming up in November. And I just don't want to fail because I've spent a crazy amount of time and money on it. So, depending on the days, I sometimes even do like 3 streams a day. I start in the morning, I go and take a lunch break, I'll come back in the afternoons, and after dinner I'll come back and fit in another 2 hours. So, really doesn't really depend on what time zone you're in. If you'd like to come join me, please do. I am hoping that me just being present is going to motivate you to study, and so yeah, come join me on Twitch too. ということで明日からね、またTwitch の方で配信をするかと思いますので、よろしければお越しになってきてください。やっと来れたと思ったらこれだよ。こんな夜遅くにありがとうございます、シークさん。申し訳ない。またしますね。はい。ということで、Twitch の方でもね、明日からまた作業配信しますのでね、よろしければお越しになってみてくださいまし。Alright. 以上です。ということで、allow me to read out your names before I go. 出席確認ですわ。皆様、raise your hands or raise your paws so that I can read out your names, and I'll be able to check on my list if you're here or not. 行けたら行くと言い続けて、もう3年以上。優しいな、まったく。Wait, I need to sorry. Eye drops. ごめんなさい、ちょっと目薬さします。いや、てかね、本当によくない。最近ちゃんと気づいた。ちゃんと寝てるときはメンブレしない。恐ろしい、もう。ということで、加賀さん、セラさん、デスティンさん、ナッティユさん、テレビナさん、マリオさん、ズンダモチさん、タミヤノさん、プリンシャムさん、I didn't even know that you're here. リーデンさん、ADJFSK さん、アクンさん、ゼンさん、Anybody else? 他にいらっしゃいますか？大丈夫かな？ Okay, if that's the case, thank you so much again for being here. あと、改めまして、デレミナさん、スパチャ本当にありがとうございました。今まで見たことないタイプの逆スパチャでしたね。ありがとうございます。あと、Time to Troll さん、 Thank you for being a 19-month member. あと、シークさんもね、デシデジディゼさん、Hello Tech, Teach, By Student. あと、Is Diaja さん、ありがとうございました。And again, everybody check on the Delfina-san because Delfina-san's the one who drew the thumbnail illustration of today, and someone also gave me a super chat for using it, which kind of really doesn't make sense. I'm the one who's supposed to be paying. Hi. Take care, sensei. See you in your stream. See you soon. それでは皆様、ごきげんよう。おやすみなさいませ。また明日。I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.